Okay, so we are live. Hello, how are you?
Howdy. Same old shit, man. Just working for the man, fighting the power. You know how it goes. How are you doing?
I'm pretty well. I'm pretty. You got nice hair, by the way. I saw this in your pictures before, and now I see it live. It's yeah, cool hair. Kind of Elvisy, but with some more curls, I guess.
It's like people can tell me I look like Lyle Lovett, which I'm cool with. That's a music legend. I'm cool with.
I
Okay,
know I know the name, but I don't know the guy. I have to admit.
that's
So
okay. It's way back rock and roll, like
yeah,
50s.
I heard the name before, that's for sure, but I don't know really who he is. Anyway, can you introduce yourself a little bit? Who
Yeah.
you are, what you do, and yeah.
I'm Elder Brycen from Golden Plates. We're an indie rock brand based out of San Diego and Salt Lake City, Utah, here in the U.S. I say we, but really it's just me and the voices in my head. Like I dress up like my own sister and pretend to play keyboards and videos and stuff.
I
But
see.
I'm the one like mastermind, I guess you'd call it. But there's other things there. Like for a while, I would blow up inflatable little aliens and have them play like inflatable guitars and stuff on stage with me, and say that they were from the planet Kolob and all kinds of weird shit. But that's kind of evolved over the years. So
I see. I see. So yeah, I mean, I met you through Submit Hub, so where you
yeah,
submitted one song, and I have to admit, I was like, okay, because I think you wrote in that. I play everything myself and stuff, and sometimes this is not the best advertisement because I get a lot of songs and a lot of people play everything themselves, but they're not really that good. Yeah.
right. Like they're a really good guitarist or really good singer, and but they haven't really practiced some of the other
or,
instruments. So
or, we-
yeah.
or we are neither. We just play everything and mix it together, and it doesn't really show any signs of whatever. And then we call it experimental. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, you get the drift. So there's really anyway. As I saw your line, I was like, okay, let's listen to it. And I was pleasantly surprised. So can you maybe tell me a little bit more because you know you certainly got talent, but it didn't fall from the sky. So what was your musical upbringing? I mean, where did you come from, and how did you start?
So my musical upbringing actually, like, it started when I was really little. Like my dad, when I was a baby, he was in a ska band here in Los Angeles called the Modsters, and they opened for some really cool bands in the '80s, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and General Public and stuff
Cool.
like that. And sometimes I'd be backstage, just like a little 3 year old dancing around, like not having a clue what the hell was going on, just having a great time. And then, like then my dad got into white collar crime and became an asshole. And so music was no longer a part of my life for, most of my childhood, except for, the crap my stepmom used to listen to the radio. Well, I mean, I respect Madonna, but, that's the kind of stuff that she would listen to, is like, Britney Spears and Sync, and that's the kind of stuff I was stuck with. So then I discovered punk rock and would secretly listen to it in my bedroom, and gradually go on. And then my friends wanted to start a punk band when I was a teenager, so I picked up the bass, and we were all terrible, and we did like this one crappy Nirvana cover, and we kept on playing and playing until we got better, and then we started writing some of our own songs. And um, my buddy, the drummer from that band, Tommy, he's actually does like electronic music as a guest of Rapture, and they're actually really good too. But I don't know if it's just him. We don't really keep in touch that much anymore. I don't know if it's just him or if it's a project he's a part of. But they do some really cool like glitch mobby kind of music. And then yeah, my buddy John, I don't think he plays music anymore, but then I just kept playing, and then I went to college and I played guitar in jazz band, and I took choir, and I took an electronic music recording, which music technology courses in the United States American education systems are way behind. This was the early 2000s. I want to say like 2005. I was taking like an electronic music production class, and we had these old Korg workstations from like the 80s, and our final was just to record 8 measures of music on that keyboard, and that was it. I learned nothing. I've learned more in 2 hours of watching YouTube
Yeah, it
videos
sounds
had
terrible.
all of college about music. But yeah, so I kept playing in bands, and none of them ever went anywhere because no one understood like marketing or how to get out of playing pay to play shows, which if you're an artist that's not heard of, then venues will tell you, oh yeah, you can play in this cool world, you can play at the Troubadour, that's fine, you can play at the Roxy, but what you got to do is you got to sell at least 30 tickets at $15 a pop. Well, only 3 of your friends are going to buy tickets, so that means you've got to come up with another $350 to be able to play that show.
Okay,
So
so you're basically self-taught, and just because you also you play drums as well, and
no, I play keyboards and then I play drums on the keyboards,
I see.
and yeah, those drums. I know they sound. I work really hard at making my drums sound like they're real drums, but they're not. It's a drum machine.
Okay, okay, and then when you perform live, then I mean live, you have like backing tracks or something, or how do you do it?
That's exactly what I do. So
Hmm.
when I record music, I make a mix without vocals or guitar, and I play it in the background, or sometimes I'll just play acoustic. So I'll change it, and I mess with my background backing tracks all the time too, just to make live experiences a little bit different from here to there. Like I've added piano to songs that didn't have piano, older songs. I've done stuff like that. But yeah, the long term goal is I'd love to someday be able to play with, still do all the music myself in the studio, minus maybe some real strings and that, so a real orchestra, that kind of stuff. But I'd love to have like a 15, 20 piece band years down the line when, I can
15,
afford.
20. I mean, now you're alone, and when you want to go to 15,
Yeah,
it's quite a
absolutely. I mean,
jump.
that's it. Well, yeah, it's going to be gradual. I'm sure it's gonna take some time to build that up. But one of the best musical experiences I've ever seen in my life was, I don't know if you're familiar with Feist.
I heard the name, I have to admit, but you have to explain what it is,
So
really.
she's from Broken Social Scene, and I saw her a few years back at a music festival somewhere. She played for like an hour and a half, but yeah, she had like she's normally like the first time I ever saw her perform was on TV, and it was just her, some backing tracks, and acoustic guitar, kind of like what I do. And then I saw years later, I got the chance to see her play a concert live, and she had like a kettle drum player and like 8 string players, 2 keyboard players, small brass section. Like it was amazing to watch, and it was one of the best performances I've ever seen. But normally she had gone from the same thing in the studio. It's just her. When she was playing TV appearances, when she first broke away from her band doing solo stuff, it was just her playing with backing tracks, and then she almost never plays shows because it's expensive to hire that big a band. But that's what she'd built to, and I thought that was really cool. And that's kind of something that I would like to make happen. Because if you listen to especially a lot of my newer stuff, like I have a lot going on.
The,
I've
the, the
been doing a
last one
lot.
I know is oxytocin, which
Yeah,
was one I featured also.
yeah. That one actually, I stepped it back a little bit. That one is just Rhodes guitar, bass, and vocals. But yeah, if there's some stuff that my last album was I did like a full orchestral thing on keys, and I added all kinds of like oboes and shit. It was a great time recording it. But yeah.
So is it? I mean, is it just wishful thinking, or do you think it's really possible that you get? I mean, are you working really towards it to get this band
Yes.
together? Yeah. Okay.
Both.
Both. Okay.
there,
Good.
there's a degree of wishful thinking, but I'm also working really hard to kind of grow the quote unquote golden plates brand. I hate that. I hate so much
Mm,
of the marketing side of music, but when you're a solo musician trying to make it in the post Spotify world, it's something you have to focus on. You have to focus on hashtag strategies and all kinds of stupid shit that I hate, and
mm.
advertising and all kinds of stuff and branding, and it's not nearly as fun as making music,
Yeah,
but it's something you have
I'm
to do.
completely with you because this is really, I'm a musician as well, and I just want to do music like I guess every musician, but you have to today you have to do other things as well because yeah, I really hate it. I don't. I want to let like you want to let speak the music for themselves. That's the music. That's it. That's me. That's all I want to say. And yeah, but
Oh,
it's not
a
enough
hundred
today.
100%. And so the idea is that if I can grow this thing and if I can build, if I can speak to enough people that they're paying tickets to go see my shows, well, then I'm gonna, I don't need a lot to survive. I can, as long as I've got a few guitars, some recording gear,
Hmm.
some top ramen, I can keep on making music, right? Like that's the goal. So any if everything's grow and I start selling more sales to my shows and people start buying into the thing, well, I want to reinvest that money into better live production. I want to give people what they're paying for. So the idea is that hopefully eventually enough people are coming to my shows that I can afford to pay more people to play with me, and that's the idea,
Hmm.
right? That's the
Okay,
long term
you're
that I'm
gradually
working.
growing. Hmm. So,
Yeah.
because I mean, we are now in the Corona times, as you would say. So how is it with you? I mean, how is it affecting you? Because playing shows, I'm not sure. Where are you again? In which state?
I'm in San Diego, California.
San Diego,
So
California.
it's and on top of that, not only am I a musician, but my main source of income is I'm also a union stagehand. I do sound and lighting for large concerts and
Oh, that's
events.
bad.
So yeah, it's not good for me. But on the other hand, I've had way more time to like work on
I
production
can
skills,
imagine.
work on my
Imagine, yeah.
songwriting, work on my video editing, which is not, a thing you think of. Like I can't, I don't have the money to send my money to get my music out to get video made
Hmm.
for, YouTube. So I got to do it myself. So I'm finally kind of learning how to do that where it's not just me and my acoustic guitar in the corner with one angle. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. I'm not good at it, so I kind of hate it. But, that's been the goal. I've just been improving the production value of everything that I do in hopes that people, notice.
Hmm. No, no. So I mean, you're basically using the time now to do that. But how is your? I mean, this is maybe I don't. You don't have. But how is your financial situation? Because I'm in Germany, so we had also issues here, and I was how you say I reduced my work a little bit, but I was still working and still getting paid. So how are you scraping by?
Well, because I used we have unemployment insurance in America
Okay.
or the United States, so I got I'm getting paid $79 a week, which is not enough to live
Oof,
on,
wow.
but the federal government was adding on 600 to that, so
Mm. But
for a few
we
months
just stopped it. We just stopped it, right? This is
it's
now we're
stopped that.
on a hiatus or something or summer
It's on
break.
hiatus,
Mm.
so
Mm.
yeah, everything's up in the air. I have enough saved up to get through the next month. And then
Oh.
after that, I don't know, I might have to start giving sad hand jobs behind the Walmart. I don't know. Yeah, there's I don't have an answer for that right now. I've got ideas, so I'm sure that I can start doing some sort of like delivery service on my moped, something like that. But yeah, there's no work for me or the other 600 people in my union right now.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, that's depressing. Yeah, I mean, hmm. And yeah, I don't know how to, to segue from this away. Sorry for
Well,
this.
I mean, it's fine. I lucked out because the last day I was working, I yeah, it is depressing. But my last day of work, I worked for Tame Impala, and I don't know if you've seen them or their live setup, but I did their lighting setup, and it was massive, and it was their first show, so it was like 27 hours of straight work. I was making four and a half time my normal wage because of how long we were working with overtime. So like it was that was nice, and it was a absolutely beautiful show, and it was a great way to end real life before Corona started 2 days later.
I see. I see. So, well, okay. So for 1 month you're covered, and then so I'm pretty sure you cannot live from your music yet. But is it at least a little bit a revenue stream you can create there?
Yeah, I mean, I sell a few t-shirts here and there. I get a little bit of streaming revenue, but it that pays for my advertising, so
Hmm.
that's kind of just a wash. It's it's tough. I'll figure something out. I'm not really. I've never not landed on my feet.
Hmm.
I'm a very resourceful person. I've always been able to do something, even if I go to like all the restaurants are kind of open. You can eat outside. I don't know, maybe I'll just go and play guitar for people.
Hmm.
We'll sing songs for, I don't know. I've got ideas. I'll figure something out. But yeah, I'm not worried about it, and I'm not really worried about. That's one of the nice things about being a solo act and not having a band is that if let's say shit hits the fan for me, well, I can still just I'll still have my laptop. I'll still be able to pick up where I left off again if I have to start doing stuff. But like with bands, they're having a really hard time because let's say the drummer has to move back to another state with their to live with their parents, or the guitarist loses his job and has to pawn his guitar so he can pay rent.
Hmm.
Stuff like that. Like it's that stuff's hard for a band to recover from, but me as a solo musician, I'll figure something out always, right? So
Hmm. Okay, okay. So anyways, for you now, it's kind of like a good and a bad thing. You have more time to focus on your music and also advertisement, even if you hate it. And I completely, if you are aware. So okay. So what have been your most successful strategy so far with the advertisement? And I mean, we met through Submit Hub, so I guess this is working a little bit. What else can you recommend for the young and upcoming artists out there?
oh man, you learn how to use Facebook ads. It's huge. Like nobody like it's funny because even like my friends who I can't get to listen to my music to save my life, I'll like, like my
You
personal
have good
friends, I'll
friends.
I know, right? And then I go and I look, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll check it out." And then I'll look at my
Hmm.
Spotify for
Hmm.
artists, and
Hmm.
I'll see that nobody in that town that my friend lives in has listened to my music in the last 30 days. So that was a lie, right? But then I'll go, and those same friends they'll be like, uh, "Hey, like your music popped up on my Facebook ad, so I checked it out. It's really good." I'm like, "I told you," but
Hmm.
they don't.
Hmm. Hmm.
For whatever reason, that works, or it'll pop up in their release radar on Spotify as something like, because that's something that's finally starting to happen. Is I'm finally starting to get some of those Spotify algorithmic plays where it says, "Hey, you like this? You might also like that." Unfortunately for me, I got scammed by one of those bot farms a few months ago, and it wasn't a lot of money. It was like $15, but then for the next 6 months, they kept on putting my music in these playlists with all these terrible mumble rappers, and like like I can almost I love a lot of hip hop. the new trap mumble rap stuff I can't get into. It's just someone really bad at producing with an 808 and somebody who can't rap talking into a melodyne, and it just sounds like nonsense. And I don't get it, but my roommate really likes it. He says it's the newest form of art because it's lazy. I don't know what the fuck
Okay,
that
yeah, yeah.
means.
Lazy. I remember as I discovered spoken word artists, and I was like, okay, you cannot sing, you can only read something very monotonous and stuff. So, I mean, just admit if you cannot. I mean, not everybody has to do everything. So some people can sing, some people can dance, some people can do other things. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm kind of like, as I'm on Submit Hub, so I get a lot of music, and sometimes you can clearly tell that this person cannot sing or whatever, and then screams or does whatever we need or try to hide this. And yeah, and some. I'm German, so I want to be very honest and just tell them, "Oh man, you should get singing lessons or whatever." And but
Well,
I
no,
have to.
that's the way to do it, or even keep practicing, right? Because like, let's face it, if they keep doing it, they're eventually going to get better, and they might not ever be the best, but the more you do something, the better you get at it. You just got to keep trying, and it takes some people longer, but the effort's got to be there, right? Like some people too, because you've got your stuff on Submit Head. I've started a podcast recently too, where like I interview artists and play their music and stuff. And I
Wow, you copied me.
Actually, I don't know. How long have you been doing it? I've been doing it for a while.
I just started.
I've been
No.
doing it. I think tomorrow. What day is it? Thursday or Friday? Oh shit! It's Thursday today. I didn't even post about it. My seventh episode came out today. So I've been doing it for just under 2 months. Well, I mean, I got started the back work, longer than that ago, but that's how long it's been on the air. So, yeah, but I hear so much. Yeah, I hear so much bad music, but it's not that it's necessarily. Sometimes you can tell because they've only got out the one single. It came out. They put it out a year and a half ago, and they're still trying to promote it like this is the song, this is me, like this is the product, right? And I'm like,
Hmm.
keep going, bud. Like I go back and I listen to some of the stuff that I wrote, because it was still on MySpace until a while ago, but some of my old music I go back and I'm listening to. I'm like, ugh, why? Right? And that was after I'd even been playing for 6 or 7 years. So,
Hmm. No, but
you know,
you're absolutely right. Everyone has a path or something is coming from somewhere. If I listen to my old stuff, I'm also kind of it's cringeworthy. But back then it was, oh man, it was me, and it was the first time and whatever. And yeah, so I get that. But yeah, my point was more like sometimes I really want to be very honest on Submit Hub, and I shouldn't do that because then I get spanked by the moderators and stuff, and I get put down a notch. So yeah, so I have to tell very nicely that their vocals need improvement and something like that.
yeah, no, because they give you the ability to rank you, and when I
Hmm.
give back on some habits, usually because they're lazy. Like they give me feedback like, this just doesn't fit the vibe of what I'm going for, and I'm like, what do you listed very specifically that you're looking for like indie rock, post punk, and alternative, and that's the music I make. Like, what do you mean? I've listened to your playlists.
Hmm.
That doesn't make any sense, right? Like if you can, like sometimes they'll say like, because I know my voice, like I've worked on my singing voice for a long time. I know it's not for everybody. I know that my vocal stylings are not everyone's cup of tea. I try to be unique, right? And
Hmm.
so, and I'm okay with that. And so when someone tells me, oh, I don't like where the voice hits here, or I don't like it feels like this is getting washed in the background, I can respect that kind of criticism. But when somebody just says, like 3 words of like, okay, well, this isn't my vibe. I'm like, all right, but I just paid you $1 to tell me what. I mean, $1's not a lot of money, but it's worth more than that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, I get it. Sometimes, yeah, I have to admit, sometimes I'm also taking the lazy road and saying something like this. I'm more like I'm looking more for gothic, industrial, and dark wave. That's kind of my thing. So you're more
Right.
on the fringes in my program, but you fit in nicely because you're kind of a mix. You're not really yeah, you're not. I mean, you're certainly not gothic, but it's you have a yeah, you have your own style, and I like this too. If something is, I hear I grew up with the Pixies and stuff, and
Yeah.
so you remind me on the Pixies a lot. Kind of playing all over. I mean. With you, I can hear what music is really about. That yeah, Arno, how you say, keine Scheuklappen. Now I forgot the English word, but what no blinders, like
Yeah.
horses have. You just do, it's a green pasture. It's wherever you want to go. It's right. There is no right or wrong. You just do whatever
Yeah.
you want, and I really like that. And you seem to really use this freedom, so that's why I click with you. That there's not all the songs you do I will like, but that's absolutely right because I mean, that's as long as you like it, that's perfect.
Well, I like to wear my influences on my sleeve, and you bring up the Pixies, like Tony from the Pixies on guitar. It's like one of my huge lead guitar influences. It's like that's one of when you listen to my guitar work, that's like a big
Hmm.
place. It's where it comes from, and I use a lot more delay than he does. But other than that, like we have a similar sense of melody, right? And then like songwriting wise, like Robert Smith is huge for me, and The Cure, and
Hmm.
and Joy Division. Those are a lot of big influences
See,
for me.
this is
That
where you come in to my dark wave gothic field. So that's why you're always kind of you there, but not really there. So
yeah,
yeah, you're a fringe artist for me,
exactly.
for my channel.
Yeah, because another huge influence for me is like Jesse Lacey from Brand New, and that's
Hmm.
not even close
Hmm.
to dark wave or gothic music or like uh I don't know, like the Doors I love, and that's once
Oh, I
again,
like the Doors too. I like the
yeah,
Doors too.
I,
And
I
and
love them, but
and
yeah, not
this
even
is
close
also
to
what I kind of um, what I try to keep myself and then what you're obviously it's like I don't want to be just put into one category. It's like it has to be this or it has to be that. That's why
yeah,
if you go through my playlist or through my radio program, I like I'm in the nice position. I play whatever I like. So it's metal, it's rock, it's pop, it's whatever, and I like a mix. I get bored very easily. I don't know. I think you might be the same. If I only listen to one specific band the whole time, and they're not really, like I was a big Fate No More fan, that they have a lot of different kind of songs. So this is what I like. But if I only listen to metal, I get bored after three, four songs. I want something else. I want a mix, and yeah, and in your music, I can see you're mixing it up too. Not every song is for me, but I can listen to a lot of them and find little things I really like there.
and that's awesome. Thank you, I appreciate that. But that's a lot of what we go for. Like a buddy of mine, we were talking about music the other day, and he was telling me that King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard is his favorite band for that exact same reason. Like he can't, he can't get stuck in one genre or one thing. But you throw in King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard, you throw them on shuffle, their whole discography, and within 5 songs you'll have a metal song, jazz song, like a dark wave song, like a psychedelic rock song, and like almost like a bluegrassy song. Like it's crazy, but they all have their own very distinct. They all fit into that band's very distinct style, and I love what they do with that. And there's a lot like that because I'm kind of the same way, but for me, it's more albums. Like I can get through an album,
Hmm.
like that's perfect amount of music for me. But once the album's over, then I gotta listen to something totally different. And so I'll go from listening to like I'll throw on a David Bowie record, and then I'll throw on like I don't know a hip hop album. I'll throw on some Grave Diggers or something like. I've got a little bit of that musical ADD, but I like to at least hear the full scope of an album,
I
which is
see.
dying.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess this is the little thing. I get this point, and I have a feeling in the past it was more like that bands really focused to have a kind of concise album, that is kind of telling a story. I remember, the metal bands where we have this epic, the intro, and then we go through, and then the journey of a protagonist, of a warrior, and whatever happens, and then at the end, the conclusion, he slays the dragon or whatever. Yeah, like there's a story sometimes, but I think, and I guess we will agree here that Spotify killed this a little bit. It's you at least, or let's say just my. I listen very rarely to a full. I mean, almost not anymore to a full album. I'm just taking a single song, and then after, if I don't like it after 30 seconds or 50 seconds something, then I'm done with that. So it's maybe I'm already a victim of this short term short, how you say, short attention span, Spotifyism.
Oh yeah, it's getting to all of us, and it's not just Spotify. It's actually like my thoughts are. It started with the iPod, right? As soon as people could start downloading, and when they were charging like $1 for each song, well, you could just download the hit, right, and put that on your iPod instead of paying $9.99 for the whole album. You could just buy the song you like off
Hmm.
the album, two songs you like off the album for $1 or two, right? And then pirating came along, and then everything was free, so it was just a free for all. So you just said forget it,
Hmm.
right? And then Spotify and Apple Music and Deezer and all those came along, and yeah, that's when the playlisting started happening. People started. It's kind of a nice throwback actually, because it goes back to when I was a kid and you'd make mixtapes.
Exactly.
Uh, Off the radio, right? And you'd give them to your friends and you'd
Hmm.
share them and you'd pass them back and forth. It was a great time, right?
Hmm.
That's how I discovered a lot of music when I was a teenager. It was like a friend would make a mixtape or a mix CD with like that's how I discovered a lot of classic rock and a lot of alternative, because I pretty much just strictly listened to punk and ska for my formative years, right? Like the Aquabats, Real Big Fish, Sex Pistols, the Ramones, Pennywise, Bad Religion, that kind of stuff. That's what me from age like 10 to 15, that's all I listened to. There was no other kind of music. And then a friend introduced me to Rage Against the Machine. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, there's other kinds of music. That's amazing. So, and that was a good transition into bands like Radiohead, and then I started to get into like the more post punk stuff, like The Cure and Public Image Limited and shit like that, right? So, yeah, and then it's now I'm all over the fucking place. But I read recently that kids under the age of 25, only 20% of children, and I call them children, they're adults now, Jesus, but under the age of 25 have ever listened to an entire album.
Mm. Yeah, I
Like
can
it's just
clearly see that.
it's not even in their vernacular. They don't understand it. It's like, and I mean, for years, I mean, a lot of my favorite albums put out artists put out albums, and the whole album's great front to back, right? Yeah, you look at like, I don't know, my one of my early favorites is the Blue Album by Weezer, right? Every song on that album is masterpiece, right?
Hmm.
But then sometimes especially in the pop world, they put albums just because it's the thing, it's a tradition, and that's what you
Hmm.
do in the record
Hmm.
industry. But half the songs are fluff, half the songs are
Exactly. It's
not.
just the package, basically. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Like,
no, yeah, and I think I remember as vinyl was making a comeback, I was like, who would buy vinyl, records? And yeah, yeah, no, but let me let me finish it. I was like, huh? Who would buy this? You have all these albums, you have a massive, you can download everything, and then I remembered how nice it was as a child. You put on a record and you put on the needle and you hear the cracking, and then it's just something magical happened, and you really kind of sit down and listen to it. This is also another thing. I mean, I have to can accuse myself of that. I I rarely sit down and just enjoy music. Just I have it in the background. When I'm working something, or of course with SubmitHub if I get it. When I'm like, okay, I usually give a song a minute or a minute 30 until I say yes or no. Because there's so many and of course, sometimes it's not going at all when I block the user right away. Um, uh, but yeah, it's I really want to try, make an effort to sit back, relax, and just enjoy music. I just moved to a new place, so I have a how you say an easy chair, a big couch chair, where you can lounge a little bit. How do you call this?
We call it a lazy boy.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
you can really, and it has even some massage things in it. It's a relaxing chair, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit down and just listen to music and just close my eyes and don't do anything. So I really kind of have to push myself to enjoy it again. It's become such a commodity, so like a throwaway product. And I want to better myself against this issue.
And that's what I love about vinyl is I every morning it's something I can force myself to do, and it's nice because the way I've got my all my vinyl organized, it's just in these it's I've got this long table with like two big sections underneath that are open, so each side is just full of records. And every morning I wake up, I start breakfast, I pick a record, and it's just one of the two that are in front. I pick one of those two, and then I play it and I eat my breakfast. I enjoy my breakfast. I listen to a record that I have obviously not listened to a long time, and then I take it and I throw it in the back of the rotation. And
Okay, okay, got
so
it.
not only am I forcing myself to listen to new music every day, but I'm, the tactile ability of putting a record down on the turntable and actually making myself listen to it and then getting up and changing the sides when the side's over. It takes me back to the point where I'm actually going back to those albums and reappreciating for what they are instead of just being on the background of a playlist while I'm working on something or doing something. And so that's become a magical thing for me.
Hmm.
That's part of my routine, and I find it helpful.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's also the smell of it and stuff, and how delicate you have to be with. It is kind of something. Yeah, something special, something magical. I mean, maybe I'm swooning over this thing, but um, yeah. So sometimes I'm sad what I have become myself. Because I'm also part of this culture. Anyway, let's maybe talk about something
Yeah,
else. This is a
sure. But
foregone time, whatever.
it is, but I've got to defend you on that because you're right. Like, I mean, shit, I lost my place too. Fuck. You're as a musician, you should be able to think about that stuff, and or even as a music lover, you should have the ability to really just, I don't know, consider how you're listening to music and reminisce about stuff, and that there's nothing wrong with that, regardless of what they're doing,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, no, no, and this is also, I try to, I sometimes have to cleanse my palate a little bit. I guess you have the same because you as a musician, you can focus on the drums are good and I don't know and I like this a delay or whatever effects you use, but this is just you focus on little tidbits of a song, but the song itself, is the whole. You have to get. So sometimes I am also like I really need to. Sometimes with Submit I have to go back and forth because first of all I'm listening to the whole song and I want to see I like it or don't like it. And then I have to give criticism or whatever, and when I say okay, when I have to get okay, I didn't like the drums and da 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 da, and because of da da da. So when I have to get specific, so I have to get back to inside the song again. So you get my point. Sometimes you have to get the whole thing, and then you have to also dissect it a little bit to give yeah, to give some feedback that it's worthwhile something. But at the end, I have to be honest. I either like it or don't like it. You know, if I like a song, it's the easiest for me. But if I don't like it, then I really have to say something worthwhile why I don't like it. But yeah, because I cannot just say that's not my taste.
Yeah, exactly, right. But it's what's the word I'm looking for? How many songs do you get? Like, how many submissions do you get per day? Like, I only my only experience with reviewing on Submit Hub is like the hot or not section where you put your music in, and then in order to get other people to listen to it that are also musicians, you have to listen to their stuff, and you get extra bonus points if you write reviews that are thoughtful, right? And so I was doing. You can even get like free credits that way, which is
Yeah,
nice when.
I did it for a while too, but now I really, because I wanted to focus on other things, and I saw that it's kind of overtaking too much of my time. So SubmitHub gives you the options to throttle your thing. So I get like, I think I'm now at the most 20 standards per day, and or no, 20 premium per day and 10 standard or something. So I throttled this because I what I said earlier, it's kind of I was going just very quickly through them, because they are kind of on autoplay. If I play one and then I say yes or no, then the next one, and then you're kind of like going through, and it's not. I don't really give it much credit, I mean. You are sometimes on the other side, and you kind of you choose an outlet, and you get, here I put this for you, and sometimes we really write nice things in it, in the little thing where you can put in I wrote this song for my girlfriend and whatever, and like I told you in the beginning where you wrote I played all of this myself, and it was like ugh. Okay, let's see how this turns out, because anyway. So somebody even offered, if you play this song, I wash your car, and something. So it's funny stuff they put in there. I really like that, and I realized if I have too many, then I just go through them quickly. So I throttled them a lot and don't have so many anymore, so that I can really enjoy them and go through. And I'm also quite harsh with. It's maybe not so nice, because in the beginning you said people need time to grow, because I block very fast. If you send me I would say bullshit. If you send me really bad stuff, badly mixed, badly sung, badly whatever, then I block you right away, because there's so much good music out there, and I don't want to get drowned by this bullshit, basically. But on the other hand, you have a valid point that I don't give them the chance to grow. I try to be a little bit more considerate, but I blocked I think over 300 users already.
Yeah, well, I mean, your time's valuable too. That's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and there's a lot of music out there, and maybe those artists that need time to grow will come back as a new artist. That's another thing too. Maybe
it happened.
And maybe they join a new band or something like that. But I mean, there's over 40,000 songs released every day in the world.
Wow.
There's not enough time for anybody to listen to even close to all of it. So it is what it is. I'm sure there's probably a few people that I've overwhelmed on Submit Hub that have probably blocked me, that didn't like what I was doing, or I wasn't their scene or whatever. I mean, and it is what it is. There's a ton of music out there. There's so much coming through that nobody will ever listen to every song that's ever been written in their lifetime, nor should they. But that's the job of the artist to cut through. It's the job of the artist, or if they've gotten to that point, their management, to make sure that the people that need to be hearing them are hearing them. Because I get that's another thing. Like we were talking about ads being the way to go. Like Facebook advertising it's such an inexpensive way to get your music in front of people, and the return on investment isn't great at first. But it's you got to think long term, because every time someone goes to check out your music, and let's say then they follow your Instagram or your Facebook, that grows over time. Now you've got this little army, then they're sharing the songs with their friends. The next thing you know, you're selling out your local venue, and it grows and grows and grows, and you got to learn to enjoy the journey. But beyond that, it's just you people sometimes to get their targeting way off. Like, I get advertisements for songs that there's no way that they did any sort of research. They just went and they went in there and they're like, send this song to people who like music, right? It's
Yep.
blast everywhere. And then sometimes I've discovered some of my new favorite artists through Facebook ads. There's some really good acts that they go in and they're clearly saying, "Hey, show my music to people who like both The Cure and the Pixies," right? And then they're going out and sending it to everybody who's like me.
Yeah, no, but
And
you're right. That's I discovered, or I think I discovered that mostly labels scattershot things. They just send it to how they buy premium credits, so you have to listen to it, and just throw it on Submit Hub, and yeah, this is completely off. I mean, really weird stuff. I like to genre bend sometimes, and I have also played rap songs in my program and stuff, but it's not my kind of thing. You have to be really, yeah, you have to catch me basically to get it. But I wouldn't, I would not. Anyway, mostly labels just throw stuff at you, and then they say, "Oh, yeah, we do this marketing for you," and blah blah blah. But it's really bullshit. Yeah, and I wanted to say something else. Oh yeah, another thing I also try to you know, I guess you have certain days where your moods are different. So I also try to have always kind of the inquisitive mood when I go through the music, because sometimes if you have a bad day and you're just like going through, then it's also you don't give the artist it's the credit he deserves, maybe.
oh yeah,
So
totally. I can see that being a huge struggle because there's definitely days when I want to listen to, there's days when I want to listen to Elliott Smith, and there's days when I want to listen to Phoenix, and very different moods.
Yeah, this is
You know.
sometimes a problem for me too, because as you know, I have a very eclectic mix, I call it, kind of all over the place, what I like. But sometimes, I get really sweet pop music and I want metal, and so yeah, sometimes I get the wrong stuff, and I try to be open-minded and listen to it carefully, but yeah, so I'm whole I'm the problem sometimes myself, that I want a mix, but when I get the other stuff, from the mix, the other end, then I'm kind of like, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that is what it is, because if you're not in the mood for it, then you're not gonna, say the right things or write the right things about it. You're not. So that's another thing too. You want to make sure, and once again, there are so many hundreds of blogs and radio shows and programs on Submit Hub too that, let's say, it wasn't your day. Well, that artist probably sent it to at least, 10, 20, 30 other people. Maybe it was someone else's that day, so you can't really be too hard on yourself about that because,
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's we're all just struggling to get that one placement and get in front of that one piece of set of ears that are going to take us to that next step, right? That are going to they're going to share that with five of their friends, and they're going to share it with five of their friends. That's what artists are all doing constantly, and some of them are really bad at it, and they just said I get some of these DMs and comments on Instagram and Facebook where it's just like, yo, bro, check out my music. And I'm like, who are you?
Yeah,
Like,
I stopped about this. I mean, I sometimes check it. I'm most active on Twitter. So and then I try to connect with other musicians. So because this is my main target, and this is people I want to reach. So and then sometimes when you connect with them, okay, this is my album, this is da, 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 and then oh, this is rap. I'm not really into this, or this is really strange. Oh, there's this a new kind of rap. Anyway, it's really trap hip hop
Yeah,
thing.
here's the thing, because I
Yeah.
love rap. I
Mhm.
hate I love like old school hip hop. I love bands
Mhm.
like Run the Jewels and stuff like that. There's a lot good out there in the rap world, but there is so much garbage. Like my roommate listens to this subgenre of trap called drill, which comes from Chicago, and it's literally just really mediocre beats
Mhm.
with these guys talking about who they're going to kill next over their track, like
Okay.
in Gangland Chicago. And there's so much like violence that happens, like, like, and like it's like tagged too, like there are weird rules, like these kids that are out there killing each other, like 17-year-old kids out there killing each other over territory and who lives on what block, and the dumbest reasons you could ever kill somebody. Not that there's ever really a good reason to kill anybody unless they're like you know
Mhm.
doing
Yeah,
something to your family.
threatening a life or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But no, there's like, if you get home, you're safe, like, like weird rules like that, and they rap about that shit, but really badly most of the time. And like my roommate's super into that stuff, and I just don't understand it. Like it's glorifying murder
Hmm.
and not even musically good. So
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm kind of, yeah. Well, some things I really don't get. But this reminded me that I really had, I was following a few people on YouTube, some tutorials and stuff. And there was always like, yeah, and I sell beats, and I sell beats. And I was like, what is he selling? He sells beats? Is it just really like a beat, like boom chuck? Or what is he? And then I really
I
asked what it is, and it's songs. But then I was like, okay, but how? I know, like
so,
Madonna or something, but people. Okay,
no,
sorry, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah, well, because I can kind of shed some light on this. So beats is, I think that's an American slang term for hip hop instrumentals. I think that
Hmm.
might be the disconnect. So that's what they're selling. They're selling produced instrumentals for rappers to rap over. Because like a lot of times I like to fuck with rappers who like hit me up on social media, and they'll tell me, "Man, I just made this new song. Check it out." I'm like, "Cool. What instrument do you play?" And they obviously don't play an instrument. They're just sitting there talking over an instrumental that someone else made, and their response will always be something like, "Well, I go to the studio." I'm like, "Okay," you know. So yeah, that's a thing, but that's what they're doing. It's a huge business. It's a huge, like, all these. There's a lot of people who, because one of the, as much as I love rap, one of the worst things that it's brought about is it's created this culture of people who don't have musical ability or any desire to develop musical ability, who think that they can start a career in music, and who think that they can be famous musicians because they see, like, I guess, like, Jay-Z and Kanye West, and they're just standing on stage, rapping. They think I can do that, but they don't know that Kanye West and Jay-Z have produced these, like, they make their music, right? They work
Hmm.
with instrumentalists, and they actually produce their stuff, and they've actually created a business out of it and all kinds of shit. And you get all these people who just see the stage portion of somebody holding a microphone and talking and saying I can do that,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's created this huge generation of musicians who don't actually have any interest in learning their craft, who just want to say words into a microphone and call themselves musicians.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously this is always have been true, but you see like 10% of is on stage. It's visible, is what you can really see, but you have to you have to learn your instrument, you have to practice, you have to sing, you have to you have to do tracks, you have to write lyrics, and I mean, so many things that are involved with it, and like we started out, and also now today the self promotion and all the stuff. So I get it. They want the glory stuff, but want they want the results without putting any effort into it, and this is not working. I mean, it might work, but for whatever reason they blow up with one song. But what are we gonna follow up then? You know. I mean, if they're lucky, they find a producing team, but anyway, this is, I guess, not our cup of tea. I mean, you can play your stuff, and I can play a little bit of mine, and yeah, and then we can sing, and also I think it's. Um, did you do any covers by the way?
Yeah, I have a weekly cover segment I do on YouTube. And every Tuesday, I make a new cover. Actually, I just did a Britney Spears cover where I
Ah,
put
yeah,
together.
right. I saw this, and I really okay. I have to check it out. I will link it. Once I upload this to YouTube, I will link it to there as well. Because what I wanted to say is, I have sometimes really um, in order for me to cover a song, I really have to get into it, because with your own music, it's kind of it grows organically, and you kind of have an idea how to sing and what you want to persuade, no, what you want people to perceive in the song, what you want to. Oh, there's a better word for it. I forgot it. Anyway, and with if I cover, then I really have to make it my own, and I don't know how it is with you, but because otherwise it's just, of course, I can cover the song and sing it like it has been, or in my own version, but if I don't really feel it, if I don't really make it my own, you see what I mean? If you take it in and see it as your own song. I don't know how to put it better.
Yeah,
When I don't really feel it, when I just going through the motions. That's what I want to say. I can, yeah, put it,
and
put it.
I mean, I've been doing cover songs every once in a while for decades, right? Like I love doing it. It's something always have a lot of fun with. Sometimes they sound exactly like the original. Sometimes they sound nothing like the original, and I really make it my own. But about a year and some change ago, I started trying to do them every week,
Hmm.
and I don't always get it done. But when you have that deadline, it pushes you to like just really just get it done, and that's helped me in my own songwriting a bunch of when I get stuck pushing through until I make something work and I'm happy with it. Right. But on top of that, it's really taught me a lot about mixing and different styles of music and arrangements and stuff like that. I've learned a ton by really analyzing other people's songs that I like, about what I like about writing my own music. And so there's been a lot that I've been able to learn by doing that. And especially like, I think your listeners, I did a few weeks ago, I did a cover of Shadow Play by Joy Division that I'm really proud of, that I think you'll dig. But
I'm gonna check it out.
yeah, you should like. But I put like horns and strings and all kinds of crazy shit, and I had a blast with it. And I kind of really made that my own, right? And that one I had a lot of fun with. But then sometimes I'm not feeling it, and but I know like. I got to get this out there because YouTube needs consistency to push you out to people. And that's a thing, too. It's like I finally, after a year and some change of doing this, like finally YouTube is starting to tell people to check my videos out, like just slowly but surely. It's nothing outstanding, but for 5 years I've been on YouTube, and for the first 4.5 years, I'd get something like 6 people per week
And and
watching
you and
watching
you
my
called
stuff.
them personally, I guess.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now it's like 500, and I don't.
Okay.
Had that happened like within the past couple months, and
Hmm. Hmm.
it's just YouTube rewarding me for consistently making shit. I guess I don't know, but
Hmm.
I don't pretend to understand how any of these algorithms work, but I do know that the one thing that works is consistency, is putting shit out constantly, because one, you'll keep getting better at it, and the stuff you make will get better every time you do it. But two, it creates the idea in your audience and the programs and the platforms that you're not going anywhere, that they can
Hmm.
rely on you to
Hmm.
keep on everyone's so mad at the owner of Spotify. He came out and said the other day that bands can't get away with just making an album every 3 years if they want to be successful. And everyone's super mad about like the fact that he said that because, he's ripping off artists left and right, only paying, 4/10 of a penny per stream or whatever. Like I know you're on Spotify. You probably look at your earnings report every month
Yeah,
and you're like,
about in like 150 years, I can really settle down. I'm pretty.
right. But that's another thing that I've been making music as golden plates for five and a half years now. I had my first EP released just over 5 years ago. And in the first 4.5 years, I'd look at, every couple of months I'd take a look at my Spotify for artists and see, oh,
Yeah.
I made 27 cents. That's awesome. But, then like,
Quite
I just,
depressing.
right, exactly. And then I looked at my my payouts like for May when I first started like really like getting into the marketing stuff, like right after COVID, right? And it was like $27, and I'm like, oh my God, I can buy lunch.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, but I
So
think also it's consistent, and what I heard is like, um, I guess he was slammed for saying this, but this is the way it is. I mean, if you're a really big band, you can maybe get away with every 10 years an album or something, and people will still listen to it, and you still might be relevant. But if you're just like us, some underground artists, when you really have to kind of stick your head above the crowd every week, doing something consistently, and so that you're aware, that you're relevant. I
oh,
discovered this with that you should do only EPs and stuff, because then you can send out something new every 3 months or so, that people get you in the release radar, and the people see you more, and also Spotify, the algorithm kind of see, there's something new, blah blah blah, we can promote it and stuff. So before we get further into this, I just realized I wanted to ask you, why did you call yourself Golden Blades? That's not.
okay. So
Yeah, what is it?
this is so this is I'm originally from California, but I had just moved to the state of Utah when I started as Golden Plates, and I was working at a car dealership. And I had found an apartment that I really liked, but they hadn't finished building it by the time I was supposed to move in. So I was living on my boss's in my boss's closet on a blow up mattress on the floor um, for a couple months, and I had nothing really to do. It was out in the middle of nowhere. There were no bars in the area, so I just started writing music and recording it. And all I had, because most of my stuff was in storage, was this broken Epiphone guitar with a neck that I'd bolted back together, and my laptop and audio interface, and I decided to make a record, an EP. And so, I did it in like a month. When it was my first attempt at mixing myself, and the mixing's not great on it. I released a remastered version a year later, once I actually learned what mastering was. But yeah, it's that, and I didn't know what to call it. I wasn't going to call it Brycen. Like that didn't fit because I was playing all the instruments. Like I was trying to think of something like Trent Reznor. He plays all the instruments. James Murphy. He
Hmm.
plays all the instruments. Like what am I? But they don't call themselves Trent Reznor and James Murphy. They call themselves
Yeah.
Nine Inch Nails and LCD Sound System.
So just take
So
6-inch nails or something.
yeah, right, exactly. So I just threw it out there on Facebook, like just joking, like, hey, anyone have any ideas for what I name my new band? And there's if you're familiar with the state of Utah, it's about 60% Mormons.
Yep, I
So
know, I
people.
know.
Okay, so the whole story of Mormonism is that this
The
dude,
golden blades. I was
the
thinking of
Golden
this.
Plates.
He had these golden blades to translate the word of God or whatever, or transcribe it, or what. Yeah, okay. the goal. So it's really this, because I was thinking of this. I had a good
Yeah.
friend who is a Mormon. I
Mhm.
used to live in Canada for a while in Montreal. And
Okay.
I didn't know, as I moved there, I didn't know anyone, and I just went to a church because I thought, okay, let's go where should be nice people, and it was a Mormon church. And
Ah,
oh, you're from Germany. Where's the guy? And when he became my roommate and a good friend of mine. Anyway, and so I got familiar with this whole story of Mormonism and what's his name, Adam Smith, right? Uh,
Joseph Smith.
Joseph
Adam Smith
Smith.
is
Adam Smith is
economic.
someone else. Yeah, Joseph Smith and that he was a fraudster and whatever. I mean, there's things you shouldn't say, right? Along Mormons, and but most of them are really nice people. It's
Oh
like
yeah. I
so.
love the Mormon people. Like, I mean, I've had a couple friends whose parents kicked them out because they were gay, and they're
Mhm.
stuff like that. But that happens outside the Mormon church too, right? So you can't just say that Mormons are bad because of that, right? Like, it's a little more prevalent there, but not necessarily. But the church itself does some really despicable stuff. Like, they actually like own a mall across the street from the church in Utah,
Okay.
and COVID hit, they were like kicking people out because that they had to close their stores, but they couldn't pay rent, so they were kicking them out and stuff. I don't know. They're kind of sketchy.
Mm.
But the people themselves are like the most community centered, nice people like I've
Hmm.
ever met.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not making fun of them so much, but they believe some crazy ass
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, and with the underwear and stuff. And what I also heard, I mean, you live where I don't know. Uh, I heard that in Utah, the porn industry or the online porn is one of the highest rate downloaded
Yep.
whatever. It was like, okay, that's the most Mormon state, and from the appearance they're kind of like, I don't know, really. I don't know. We close our eyes when we have sex, so we don't get aroused too much, or whatever. I don't know. But
No,
they don't take off their
that's
anyway.
That's a thing. Like, when you're that repressed, things happen, and
It,
so
yeah.
there's what's the it's they called it, the Utah state government actually came out and called it a public health crisis.
What
They were more
the porn
concerned.
crisis?
Yeah, they came out and like they said that this is like a like the opiate epidemic, or like COVID-19. They compared it to that.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. I mean,
the Utah
porn is maybe
government.
not the best, but yeah, but I'm completely with you with this, because that's also my. Okay, let's maybe not go there, but my thing with Islamism or something like this, if you are repressed and if you're not allowed to see women or whatever, and go after your sexual fantasies, or find the right mates or whatever, then you get, you get kind of an overdrive when you get too much, and you get more extreme, because it's forbidden anyway when you can go for the real bad stuff. If you're
Oh yeah.
living a free life, like, I'm from East Germany, so we have the FKK culture. I don't know, you might not know this, but for us, nakedness is normal. So you would go naked bathing and stuff. So this is kind of, nude was normal. I went to a Christian, how you say, Ferienlager, to a Christian youth retreat, and we went all naked, including our supervisors in the sea and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, we are naked as well. So, and anyway, this is how we grew up. There was no pornographic images, because you could find naked ladies displayed in the store displays and stuff, because we showed nude pictures, because, oh, look, it looks nice, and this could hang here and there, and so anyway, so I think it's really, if you repress something, then it becomes more extreme and it explodes, kind of. Yeah, and you.
Oh, absolutely. It's the same with drugs. It's the same with everything. I mean, like, but one of the cool things I loved about living in Utah is because it's 60% Mormon, while the other 40% of us, there's this really cool counterculture. It's a very, very cool arts community. There's a lot of really cool outdoorsy types people. There's a lot of people that are just like they look at the repression and they go so far the other way, but they do it in an artistic way, or they do it, and I think it's really neat. Like, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff coming out of Utah as well. So, these things all go both ways. There's a yin and yang to everything. So,
Hmm. And you're in Salt Lake City.
that's where I was. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
moved about a year and a half ago, but
Ah.
yeah,
Okay. So not anymore.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, well. Yeah. So yeah. You wanna talk about something? What's on your chest? I mean, I could ask you about what you think of your upcoming election, but I'm pretty
Uh,
sure this is not a good subject, and I think I know where you're leaning more, but I think you don't have
I
really
don't know
good
if it's
options here.
I
Um,
don't know if it's a tragedy or a comedy, but I'm pretending it's a comedy as we go into it. Because yeah, I mean, I don't vote. I believe that voting is a form of oppression.
really,
Um, yeah,
really,
I do. I think that.
explain to me then.
So the way I view voting is you're not willing to do things to help other people yourself. So you go out there and you try to get the government to come in with guns and tanks to do it for you, and I don't think that's okay. That's how I look at voting, but that's mostly because of the way the electoral system is set up in America too.
Oh yeah, this is
But
a really stupid system. I mean, with the
yeah,
electoral votes, Trump. I don't really get it. You have a really complicated process, and it makes no sense at all.
I mean, there are parts of it that I understand. Like, I can understand the arguments, because America is such a big place geographically that
Hmm.
there are different cultures and different things like that, and you don't want one group tyrannizing another group because they have a bigger population. I understand that. That's kind of a check and balance thing. Like, you don't
But
want.
you have state governments, so this is kind of your main government is quite weak compared to the state government, so that's why it's kind of it's already checks and balances from
That
my
that's how it
perspective.
was that's how it was designed. That's not how it is in practice anymore. The federal government has, especially lately. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on in Portland, Oregon, but our government's actually going, and the federal government is coming in with unmarked vehicles and
Yeah, this is really crazy
federal
stuff. Yeah.
pulling people off the streets and throwing them in vans and not telling people where they're going and not officially charging with them anything and declaring them as terrorist enemy combatants and shit. It's insane.
Hmm.
They're not supposed to have that power in our constitution, but they've taken it anyway, and it's been something that's building for decades. My whole life I've been watching it happen, and there's stuff that people are mad about now that I've been mad about for 20 years. So I've just kind of given up on voting as being the solution. Now
Hmm.
now I try to help in other ways, whether it be financially or volunteering or things of that nature. That's where I lean. That's where I think the future is, because you can't count on your government to do much right. At least here, I don't know how things are in Germany.
Yeah, no, I get it that on a small scale this will work, with the volunteering, but on the larger scale, I'm still thinking you need a government, and when there is you need to vote for who you want to kind of rule over you or kind of make decisions, because small scale, it works. The smallest cell is usually the family, and then there's also somebody has to say how it goes, and then there is the city, and then there is the community, and then there is the state, and so you see what I mean. So you need some direction. So that's why I'm not
That,
against
but
voting.
for every administration in my lifetime has taken us in the wrong direction. So I can't get behind that. I think there's that's too much power for any individual to have. I think that needs to be taken away for sure. Now whether or not people feel like they need someone to lead them and make decisions for them, I mean that's another issue. But uh, even in this election, there's nobody who has a chance of even getting 5% of the vote who I would even consider voting for. They're awful human beings that deserve to be in prison, not in charge. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm completely. I mean, I get it that power corrupts. So this I understand, but you know, I grew up in East Germany, so behind the Iron Curtain. So for
Hmm.
me, being able to vote is something special still. You know,
Yeah.
so and I get it that you know I never.
In America, we're taught that behind the Iron Curtains that you guys actually had sham elections, that you could
Yeah,
vote.
you could kind of. It doesn't matter if you voted or not. There was always over 100% for the one
Yeah.
party and stuff. So
You could only vote for the party.
uh,
Like that was how,
there were other parties, but we don't really, you know, we kind of were in line. So it was just, you know, pretend. We were playing
exactly. Well,
pretend.
in America, we have two parties, but the differences between the two parties are like the differences between Ruffles and Lay's potato chips, like between
Yeah,
Coke and Pepsi. That's the extent of the difference. It's not like you've got this these two groups with different ideologies that are going back and forth. It's like there's one group that really likes war, and then there's one group that also really likes war but pretends not to. So
yeah.
it's
No, I think one of the big issues with America is or United States is that you have only two parties. I mean, there's more. There's like a third party or something, but they are kind of not really relevant, and
yeah,
so it's like. Um, you cannot. I mean, in these two parties, everything has to be in there, and this cannot work. I mean, so they have no contours. No, they have no. Like you just said, one is for war and one is a little bit more for war, but a little bit different war. And I don't know, we take drones and the other take tanks. So it's not really
yeah,
a big difference. And I think this is an issue. You have no. In Germany, we have more parties where you can kind of cast your vote better. You can kind of like, I want more liberalism, I want more green stuff, and I want more conservatism, and or some really weird left stuff. So you kind of be more specific. I always voted for something else. I never voted for. Maybe I did vote for the same party twice or something, but I always kind of change my vote what I'm kind of feel like at the moment. So, and I see in United States you don't have really the option. It's kind of like um, either this evil or this evil. It's kind of no real because everything is in every party. You find everything. So
absolutely.
and this is really in Germany, the parties have, there's also majority, but we have to struggle to find votes for certain things. If we want to pass a bill or something, we have to
Hmm.
kind of talk with people which we don't agree completely with, and then we find the best compromise to make a new law or to make something. And this is kind of almost impossible in the United States. I have a feeling because it's black or white or nothing. There is no gray in between. There is no any. Can be. There's always. I get that there needs to be always compromise. It's not like it can be good for everyone. There's always okay. We have I don't know. We have this amount of money. How do we spread it best? And
In the
and
United States, voting is like picking your favorite football team, and it's about as effective. And yeah, the differences are the same, and but the
mhm,
difference is that people die at the end of the day,
mhm,
and because of those decisions, and I can't get behind that.
yeah.
There is one party in the United States that's fringe, and nobody pays attention to them, especially not in California. That I agree with most of their platform, but nobody's paying attention. Like it's a very small percentage of they might get 2% of the vote in any gubernatorial or presidential or congressional election. There's one person from one of the main parties who recently switched to this party,
Hmm.
uh, Congress, but that makes 1 out of 465 representatives.
Hmm.
So it's not really a lot. There's not really a lot of dissenting opinions out there.
Mm, yeah, no, no. Now, what I think about it, when we talk about it, I can understand you now. I think I see that it's kind of senseless to vote in your situation because it doesn't really matter who you vote for. It doesn't change anything.
Exactly. So
Mm,
not voting for me is a form of protest, and I am aware. I might consider it if I lived in one of those swing states where my vote mattered.
mm-hmm.
Where I might consider it because I do have a lot of friends who are in the LGBTQ community that will have slightly benefit from one of the parties winning. I can kind of get behind that, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can get behind that, even despite the fact that the party that's not currently in power is still going to go to war, still going to lock kids in cages, and is still
Yeah.
going to all the things that I'm against. But sure, they might be a little bit nicer to the LGBT community, and that's I guess a worthwhile thing for me. So
Mm-hmm.
if I live, I mean, not I guess it is, but if I lived in a state where votes count, here in California, they all go to one party no matter what. It hasn't ever changed since Ronald
Mm-hmm.
Reagan, and that's just because he was from here and was a movie star. Had nothing to do with
Mm-hmm.
So it
His
doesn't really.
accolades.
Yeah, in the state of California, you're more likely to die on your way to the polling place than to your vote to have an effect on the election.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much disparity there is there. So it's just kind of irrelevant.
But by the way, how's the COVID-19 situation at the moment? Do you have do you have to wear a mask or how is it at your place at the moment?
Well, if you go into it's up to the discretion of cities and states and things like that. So most businesses require that you wear a mask when you go into them. But I see people like going to the beach all the time, not wearing masks. When I walked to the grocery store, my moped was stolen a couple months ago, so I don't currently have transportation. My life's a mess. Uh, I walked to the grocery store the other day, and I passed about 30 people. None of them were wearing masks, so it's not being strictly enforced.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about once again the government mandating things, but I also think even if it's making your neighbors feel safer, you should probably wear one, or
Hmm.
else you're a dick. So I don't know. It's all up in the air. But yeah, restaurants and bars are all closed here, unless you have outdoor patio seating, and then you can have a restaurant be open. Uh, yeah, but like I said, for us musicians and for me working in the backstage area of the music industry, like who knows when work's going to come back for us.
Hmm. Okay, it's really bad. Okay, yeah. Um, let's end on
Yeah,
this happy note.
yeah, that's definitely the note to end on.
No, no, no. Let's say something. Um, okay, what will be your next cover for your what is cover Tuesday or what is the day?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't decided yet. I've been working on a new single, and that's been taking up a good chunk of my time the past few days. So I was going to ask my Instagram followers what I should do like tomorrow, and then just do it. Um, because I have no idea. I have like 40 songs that I want to do, and I can't pick, and I'm too focused on other shit and how I'm gonna find work to pay my bills next month to even
mm,
decide what cover I'm gonna do next week. So I'm gonna make someone else decide for me.
and what is with your moped? I mean, you just said you had one, but now it's stolen.
Oh yeah, it got stolen 2 months ago, and then it got recovered last month. But there was so much
Okay.
damage to it, the insurance decided to just total it out, and they paid me for it and took it. So, and so that paid off my loan, and so now I just don't have a vehicle. My roommate's girlfriend actually is going to give me another moped though. So she's a sweetheart, and she's, I'm gonna pay for to have it registered and get it fixed up and stuff. And it's just been sitting in her backyard for 20 years, so it's mine now. So
Wow.
you know,
Okay.
things are
Okay.
working out.
Yeah. So there's no public transportation, I take it. So you have to have some mode of transportation yourself.
Yeah, there is public transportation, but it's not good.
Hmm.
It doesn't take it. It's like I hear like I've never been to Europe. I've been to Asia. I've been to South America. I've never been to Europe. But I hear you guys have like phenomenal public transportation here in California. It's not. It's so sprawled out and spread out. It's just there's buses that kind of take you places, but not quite.
Hmm.
Um,
And
yeah.
not
So
that regularly, most likely, because yeah. And I
yeah,
guess
and
it's also expensive, maybe.
yeah, it takes like it's about $2.50 a ride, which isn't terrible. But each way that's $5 per each way or per day or whatever per trip. So it adds up. I mean, Uber's not that much more expensive than that, depending on how far you're going. But I don't know. I just with COVID, I don't like the idea of riding
Hmm.
it either. But I also don't have anywhere to go because I don't have a job. So
Yeah, for you.
I know, right?
We need to find something positive to end this on. What can we
I've got
talk?
I've got a new single coming out in 2 weeks. I'm just
Okay.
finishing it up right now. It's called Nothing. It's a pretty sad song, but it's got like a message of positivity. Like oh God, I'm going into this. I was depressed and suicidal for like most of my life. I've only very recently discovered how to love myself and learn to. I've found my joy. Right, I found my purpose, and people I've surrounded with myself with people who love me and
Hmm.
are good to me and aren't toxic, and all the things that you do as growing up. But like for most of my life, like the when I moved to Utah, and it's happened probably a dozen times in my life, I've packed up my bags and gone and started my life all over again, because the other alternative was jumping off a bridge.
Hmm.
And that was really, that was a real struggle for me for most of my life until very recently. And so that's kind of what that song's about, is having that emotion and having that the feeling that you're worth nothing. And that's a learned behavior, and kind of breaking free of that. And so, yeah, I guess that's a positive enough note to end on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep keep it this way. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, Bryce.
It's been
Um,
great.
no,
This has been good.
Brycen.
Yeah,
Your name is Brycen. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Not Bryce. Brycen.
it's
Okay.
fine. We're all gonna die anyway. Um,
Yeah, I will send you all the links once I set it up. It will become a podcast and a video. And yeah, and then you share it, and you make me famous and
yeah.
rich, and beyond measures and stuff. And then I send you a moped or something.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's all I ask really. But yeah, you should get a nice little. Hopefully this helps us both out, and we each give each other a few people who like what I'm doing and like what you're doing, figure it out, and those traverse back and forth, because your radio show is really cool, and I share it on my Twitter anyway. But
Thank you.
yeah, I can definitely put some of this once I get the video content. I can put that on Instagram and send some people your way, because I respect the hell out of what you're doing, and I'm glad you did what I'm doing. So yeah, let's keep in touch, obviously, and we'll chat with you soon.
Okay, so have a no. You have an evening now, right? So
It's late. It's almost bedtime.
yeah, so
I won't go to bed anytime
have a
soon, but yeah.
have a nice rest, and yeah, I wish you all the best. And whenever I can do something for you, let me know. I mean, I can push
Oh,
your stuff on my Twitter and stuff. I think I do already. Anyway, let's stay in touch,
I
and
want to like 2/3 of my Twitter retweets from you. So
Perfect.
I don't get
Perfect.
Twitter. Maybe you can show me how Twitter works a little bit because I don't understand it yet.
I don't understand Instagram. For example, I never made a story.
made a story.
Whenever you see
Whenever you
something
see
there,
something there,
it's something I
it's
change.
something I change.
I hear
I
myself
hear
now.
myself
Did
now.
you change
Yeah.
something?
Did you change something
In your
in your setting?
No, I didn't. I haven't touched anything. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, no.
Anyway,
I'll give you some tips on Instagram. You give me some tips on Twitter.
next
and
time
we'll
we
go from
talk
there.
about this, and when we also help out others.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, bud.
Sleep well.
You have
fun
a great
with it.
morning.
Yeah.
God, it's so early over there. What is it, like 5 a.m.?
6.
6.
6. Okay, that's
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
that's not too bad. All right. Well, yeah. No, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
All right. Bye.